Hey everyone. So today we will be looking at maybe the most underrated weapon, and I will be circumscribing the reasons why I think this weapon is an absolute beast on any build. Which, let's start with why it's so good on any build. Adaptability. So, this weapon has a very versatile moveset. A lot of people say it's just a halberd with a glaive moveset, and those people really need to shut up. They don't know what they're talking about. And that's like half the community, so yeah. Um, the Lucerne can actually be one of the most powerful weapons in the game if you know what you're doing. Which, it's not a difficult weapon to master. So, what it is it's a halberd with one of my favorite moves ever, Spin to Win. It's pure thrust damage, which that in itself makes it really good. Um, it's it is an absolute beast. It just the spin to win is the two-handed R2, and because it's an R2 attack, it can be two-handed. I'm not awake. It can be charged for extra damage and knockback. The weapon art, not much damage, but I mean, damage is kind of insignificant when you think about what it can do. Its weapon art is called Spin Sweep, and it's basically spin slash for a halberd. It's a really, really good move. The hyper armor is a beast. It cannot be deflected by a shield. And it can just hit your enemy with this pretty decently long combo. Pair it with the Night Slayer ring. I can't speak to that as a professional because I've never actually gotten the Night Slayer ring. What the Night Slayer ring does is it causes your opponent to take more stamina damage from guarding attacks. So pair that with an attack with godly hyper armor that will not bounce off of a shield. You got one heck of a weapon, and if that's not enough, the Lucerne has a special ability to sneak around any shield and still do pretty decent damage to your opponent. This weapon is an absolute killing machine. It's got good range, not as good as your typical halberd, but in exchange for maybe an inch or two of range, you get a much faster weapon. This weapon can be used aggressively, although I don't recommend it, but it can also be used on any build. Not just because of its versatile moveset, and because it's a freaking halberd that can be infused and upgraded, but it requires 15 strength, 13 dexterity. And if you plan to two-hand it, you can pull this off with 10 strength. 10. I'm not kidding right now. You can pull it off with 10 strength. So, basically, if you start as, say, the mercenary, for instance, and you want to use it on a dex build, you already have enough strength to use this beast. Now, if you saw the old Let's Play of the game before I took it down because I was screwing it up big time, You know, or you saw my review of the Lucerne, you would know how much I like this weapon. It's one of my two favorite halberds. It's just so good. Like, it does require some skill. I mean, most dex weapons require you to actually know what the heck you're doing. That's just how fast and not damaging weapons are. That's just kind of their thing. You gotta know what you're doing with them, but they're very, very powerful if you can figure them out. I mean, it's not technically a dexterity weapon. Okay, you know what? That was actual crap. Like, seriously, I was not allowed to dodge. I was dodging. Like, I was rolling, but I couldn't roll the direction I wanted. My iframes weren't working. Anyways, back to the weapon. It's just, there's not a lot I have to say to describe how good this weapon is. So, for the last minute of this video, I will be getting down to brass tacks and just explaining what's so great about this weapon. So, adaptability. It can just kick butt on any build. Skill level. You do not have to practice very long to master this weapon. You can always get better with it, but you don't have to practice long to master it. Super easy to master. Very versatile moveset. Has a move for just about everything. Including one of the best weapon arts a long weapon has ever had. So spin sweep. It's got reliable damage output. It's pretty fast. Like, it is actually a beast at speed. Considering it's not a sword or anything. Or a dagger. You're not going to get much faster than a dagger or a fist weapon, but for its size, it's insanely quick. It staggers enemies like a beast with overhead swings, and swings from the side, so the weapon art just smash through a shield and they damage your enemy whether they have a shield or not. That also includes spin to win. And on top of all that, good range. Not bad hyper armor either. It's got some pretty decent hyper armor. And yeah, that is why the Lucerne is a beast. It literally has everything you could possibly want in a weapon. And like I always say, damage means crap because it's so easily remedied. That's not to say strength weapons aren't amazing. I am a ultra badass, but like a badass with an ultra. But that's because they have good range, stagger, and hyper armor. Damage is too easy to remedy to rely on damage. So yeah. But even having said that, this thing does have good damage. It literally has good everything. It's just the best of everything you could possibly want in Dark Souls. And a true master of this weapon, who knows what they're doing with a build, could literally make this weapon unstoppable. I've seen it before.